evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Talking with 3D. I am your host, Derek Darrell Dixon, where real talk is for real people. And tonight, I have an exciting guest that I can call my friend. I am so excited to really get to interview LiLi Washington today, because I think it's very important that we learn once again to have real talk with real people. And today we're going to be talking about the trans world. We're going to be talking about non-binary. And these are conversations that we try to shy away from, that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about it in the church. We don't want to talk about it in the family. And it's very important that we have these conversations, because of the fact that trans men and women are living next door to us and going shopping with us and going to church with us. But we're so afraid to have these conversations. For what reason, I don't know. But as we do here on Talking with 3D, we're going to be able to have these conversations, live conversations, real conversations, so therefore that we can be educated. I myself don't know everything about the trans world, about non-binary, and we're going to learn more about that today. So I always think it's important to bring education to this show and to make sure that everybody has a voice. So I'm so excited to have my guest on here today, LiLi Washington. She's the founder of YBL Limited. Also, she's a model, actor, a producer, raised right here in Washington, D.C., formerly as Philip Washington, now known as LiLi Washington. Also, just some things about LiLi is that her family and her peers, they were not always there to embrace everything that LiLi was going through, but she persevered, she pushed through. She appeared to relieve the pain until found themselves, and she found herself in a full-blown addiction. The addiction led to multiple overdoses, homelessness, numerous arrests, and eventually serving prison time. Upon her release in 2011, LiLi vowed to turn over her life. And I am so excited to share this story with you. It's you might want to have your tissues out. You just get ready to educate yourself, to learn. LiLi is the most inspirational person that I have ever met, doing commercials, doing movies, being in Allure magazine. So nothing is stopping you regardless of what you've been through. But listen, I want you to check out something, a little bit about LiLi before we bring her on, so therefore you know what you're getting into. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. This is LiLi Washington.
In order for you to understand how I got here, I have to tell you how my journey began. I always knew I was different. So did everyone else around me. My family, the kids in the neighborhood, even strangers saw it. But rather than show an ounce of compassion for the boy who didn't fit in, they let their feelings be known.
Give me that damn doll. Dolls are for girls. You're a sis. Always playing with that doll. You don't like sports?
Hey, why can't you be more like your brother?
I heard every hurtful word. Too young to know the price I would pay for the damage others did to my self-worth. Or to understand that this was abuse.
You been going in mama's closet.
He's just confused. Take my heels off. You're embarrassing.
What are you, gay or something? You a faggot?
Hey, money going out. I'm gonna die.
Bitch boy. You wanna be a bitch boy?
That's just nasty.
I wish I could say I grew out of it. But as I grew older, the torment only got worse. It wasn't until I was an adult that I felt something I can do about it. And in the privacy of my own home, I found lots of ways to take the pain away. I gave every one of them my full attention. They took my pain away and seemed to silence the haunting voices I heard. every time I close my eyes.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is LiLi Washington. We are so excited. LiLi, thank you so much. I am so excited to have you here as my guest on Talking with 3D. It is such a pleasure to see you. We have connected some time back ago, and I was so pleased to get to know you, to get to know your story, to just be such a special part of your life. It's just so meaningful. So LiLi, welcome to Talking with 3D.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Derek. I'm really excited to be on here. Wow. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure and an honor when someone wants to speak with you, you know?
Yes.
And congratulations on your new show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. When I had the show before and it still goes on and everything, I don't feel like we were able to have a real conversation.
Okay.
And with my new talk show, it's you know what, we're going to talk, we're going to have conversation, we're going to be real, and we're here to let people know, because there's so much going on right now in 2021, involving racism and involving the LGBT community and trans women especially. It's a scary world because of the fact that people are afraid. People don't know. So first off, let's explain to our viewers the difference between between trans and between non-binary, and then what I say that, I mean, you've said this before, that you don't put labels on yourself. But what is the difference so people do understand?
Okay, well, first, before I ever explain anything in regards to my community, I always make a disclaimer that I am not the official spokesperson for the LGBT community. Okay. But I share based off of the things that I've learned in my experience and things like that. And so I'm gonna give you the definition of trans and the definition of non-binary or non-gender conforming, which is pretty much the same thing. And then basically explain to you what I identify as, or what I help people to identify me as. So transgender is simply when someone identifies opposite of what they were assigned at birth. Okay. So
say that again. They identify opposite of what they were assigned at birth.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's very important, because a lot of people they're so limited in sexual identity and gender and things like that. They think that people are only born male or born female, and they just disregard people who are born intersex. Like, that just doesn't happen. We're just gonna act like that doesn't happen. So so that's why I'm very specific, but when I say assigned at birth, versus what they identify themselves as, what they feel like inside, spiritually, emotionally, just as a person. It just doesn't match up to the assignment that you were given.
Okay.
And then you have non-binary, or sometimes referred to as non-gender conforming. I guess non-gender conforming is kind of self-explanatory, because that's what non-binary is when you do not conform to the gender norms of society. And so the reason why I say I guess people refer to me as trans or non-binary. Okay.
Okay.
The labels, I feel like, are easier for the people.
For the people, right?
It's easier, because they need a box to put you in. So please give me a box, okay?
Right.
So,
right.
But for me, I just don't care. Like, I'm just the spirit inside this body. This is a vehicle. This is the short bit. This is just the vehicle for this short human experience that I'm in. I am I identify with more of my feminine energy,
Mm.
but I'm not. I don't disregard the fact that I was born an assigned male. I don't disregard that either. I embrace both the masculine and feminine energy within me. We all have masculine and feminine energy.
Right,
My
right.
feminine energy just happens to be more pronounced, and even my body is more feminine than most males. I produce more estrogen than most males.
Okay.
Naturally, I've never been on hormones, but I have breasts.
Mm.
Okay. So that goes back to the limitations that we're taught growing
Gotcha.
up, right? So people don't think that that's possible. Just like you'll see some females who naturally grow facial hair or
Mm.
chest hair because they
Right.
just naturally produce more testosterone. So, don't take it up with them or don't take it up with me, take it up with God,
Right. And
Just saying.
I love what you said. That was the assignment.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't understand the assignment. We just go ahead and,
Right.
create our own lesson plan,
Right.
Um, so that's pretty much what it is. And for me, I just don't like a lot of labels. I try to shy away from and stay away from them and just be. But I do recognize that labels are needed for society.
Understanding in society, and like you said, people have to put you in some type of category or box, and we do that. And it's funny that we have to do that and not just see you for LiLi, not just see me for Derek. We have to find something to make them, the people, like you said, the people comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
and that's what they need. But I ain't gonna do too much to make them comfortable now. I'm gonna give them that. Okay. I'm gonna give them that. I'm gonna be nice and give them that.
Right,
But
right.
other than that, I don't do too much to make the people comfortable anymore. That didn't work for me or the people.
Right, right.
Yeah, none of us benefit from that. So,
Hey. Well, let's just talk about you growing up, LiLi. Growing up as Philip Washington.
Mhm.
And I understand that you grew up in a very strict religious family. And your family, how is it that you had discussions with your family to say, okay, this is what I choose to do, and this is my choice? Did that happen at a young age, or did this happen after, say, the different situations that you had went through?
It didn't happen at a young age because back to the whole assignment thing, I was told who I was supposed to be.
Okay.
I was told this is what boys do, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you like, this is what you wear, this is what all of that's what I was told, and it was drilled into me. In addition to other things, it wasn't just limited to sex, it was like you go to college when you graduate, and like all of those things, right? And I'm going to be very clear when I say, because of the work that I've done on myself, I don't blame or fault, or am not angry with anyone, with anyone in my family or with my upbringing. I feel like everyone's perfect, including me. And so I feel like they did the best that they can with the information that they were given. Okay.
Gotcha.
So,
right.
But that's what I was told, and that's what I was, so I tried to go along with the plan. Although, no one consulted me on it. And so, I was faking the funk. I was living a lie. I was trying to make other people comfortable at the risk of my, emotional, spiritual, and physical, ended up being physical well-being. So, that's what I tried to do. And I tried to go along with the plan, and I did that. And I noticed even when I was a teenager, when I started to develop breasts, and I knew that I was told that wasn't normal. So I used to strap down, right? So that they wouldn't show, because I thought something was wrong with me. So I still wasn't having those conversations at that time. And then, so because all of this stuff was held in, I graduate high school, I get out into the world, and I found some things to temporarily comfort me. And so I didn't have to have those conversations. And as a matter of fact, I really didn't care what no one was thinking that of me at that
Right.
time. Now I've got some substances and things like that in my life. So, you know, it wasn't until after I went through substance abuse and then I started to look at what the root of my substance abuse was, because the root of the substance abuse was not substances. Those were symptoms of what was going on. And I'm going to go ahead and call it was addiction, but the root of my addiction was not substance abuse or substances. It was pain, it was confusion, it was belief systems that weren't my own. I didn't feel like I had a choice in the matter. It was inauthentic, like just being inauthentic. It was a lot of those things. It was tons of fear, lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, and I had developed an uncanny ability to be whoever you needed me to be in the moment.
Right.
And all of those things mixed into a bucket and stirred them together almost killed me.
Wow.
So
Listen, we're going to talk about that because I want our young youth to really pay attention to what you have to say about the pain, and then adding the substance abuse and addiction into that. So listen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We're going to be right here with LiLi Washington. She is, I'm telling you, just fabulous. We're talking about the trans world. We'll also talk about non-binary. So please don't go anywhere, you guys. This is some information that I want everyone to hear. So we're going to come back and we'll be right back. Stay right where you are. This is Talking with 3D. My name is Derek Darrell Dixon with my guest, LiLi Washington.
It wasn't long before I no longer cared about things like privacy, dignity, because the voices were replaced by the howl of a monster that pushed me to the depths I never thought I'd see. Alone on the street, chasing a higher high every day, like it was my job. And that was my first overdose. It would take 5 more and 2 cardiac arrests for me to finally realize enough was enough. Both detox and rehab taught me that drugs were just a symptom of a bigger issue. Or in my case, issues. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And he did. While we never specifically talked about my sexuality and identity, my dad, a strong, streetwise, masculine black man, never once treated me harshly or said an unkind word to me. His love was one of many guiding lights in my journey to loving myself. I learned to control every aspect of myself so as not to reveal the real me. My walk, my talk, my look, my clothes were all a lie that I lived in every day while rejecting anyone I saw living comfortably in their own skin. How could they be stronger than me? Why did I hate their freedom so much? It was jealousy, and I feared the long, hard road to my liberation. Shedding my disguise was a process, and it meant opening up to people that I once ridiculed. A simple bond over music led to a life-changing friendship with someone who exposed the root of my pain. 27 years of hating that person I saw in the mirror. You already know, I wasn't raised to accept myself. But thanks to this moment, I spent the next 10 years learning to do just that, starting from the inside. And when the time was right and I was feeling myself on the inside, I knew just who to see for a little work on the outside. And to think, I already thought my skinny jeans, tee, and sneakers were risque enough.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am here with LiLi Washington. Actually, LiLi, tell everybody, you are in Brooklyn, right?
Yes, I'm in Brooklyn. Brooklyn all day. Yes.
Brooklyn all day.
Yes.
Yes.
I love
I love seeing the videos and everything of you in Brooklyn, it's like I'm always watching like a Mary Tyler Moore, like you're on the Mary Tyler Moore set. It's just like your energy, your vibe, everything, your smile. I just adore when I see you on videos and on the set. It just brightens up. I've never seen you, LiLi, actually display anything of bad energy. I've always seen you display just good, positive energy. And I just think, again, through your story and everything that you have gone through, is just so refreshing to say that, you know what, I've overcome this. I've done this. I've been there, but this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going. And we're going to talk some more about just different things that you have really gotten into and, what doors have opened up for you. Listen, I get so tired of hearing people say, well, it's not happening for me. That's because you know what? You ain't in the right place at the right time. You got to let those doors open up for you and don't be afraid to walk through them. So we're going to talk about that. But listen, let's talk a little bit more about, the pain and the overdose and the homelessness and everything, because we do have a lot of our youth that are 16, 17, 18, in that age range that do come to their families that need support. Their families put them out in the streets. They don't have anyone to turn to. So how can we educate our families more so this doesn't happen to our youth? Because then they end up on the streets getting killed and they run into the wrong people. So how can we direct people to get more information?
Well, the information is in your child. Children are way smarter than us dumb adults.
Right. Because they're telling you what you need to know, but
yeah,
we're not listening.
They don't listen. Yeah, we don't listen to children. We think they're dumb. They're way smarter than us. We've just had more life experiences, but they are closer to the universe or God or whatever you want to call the creator or whatever you believe in, but they're closer to that than we are. Yes. We're indoctrinated. A lot of us are full of fear and worried about whatever people think and, full of just misinformation and miscommunication. And then we just pass all that down to kids. But when children are they don't have a sense of any of that. They're just being free. They're being themselves. So listen to them, and talk to them and allow them to have open dialogue with you. That was one of the biggest things I wanted people to take out of the short film about my life, and the love throughout. That was the biggest thing I wanted people to take away. There's a lot of messages in there, but that was the biggest thing that I wanted people to take away, was to listen to your children.
Tell everybody about that. You have a movie out. It's called The Love Throughout. Tell everyone, all of our listeners, a little bit about The Love Throughout.
Well, The Love Throughout is based on my life. And it was produced by myself and Mr. David Hand. We got together in the heart of the pandemic and created a film that was going to just touch people that were in the LGBT plus community as well as not. The type of movie that we can understand, and relate to, but that anyone else who has walked in these shoes could relate to, because it's a human story at the end of the day, right? And it's a story about finding self-love and self-worth. But I had to go through some things to get there. Like they have people who say you can't get a testimony without a test. Well, it shows both. It shows the problem and it shows the solution.
Right.
Yeah. And it's free. It's on YouTube. So, everyone look that up.
Is it on, do you have a YouTube station or channel that they can look it up on, or do they just type in The Love Throughout?
They type in The Love Throughout, it'll come right up.
So please, everybody, you have to check that out. It's on YouTube, so go to YouTube and type up The Love Throughout. And I'm telling you, dynamic story that I think, again, educational. Everybody needs to hear it. Everybody needs to learn. Everybody needs to hear. And I love what you just said. The information is always right there. It's just the fact that we don't listen.
When the student's ready, the teacher will appear. So
Yes.
we have to be open-minded to hear something other than our own voices, our own thoughts, and the stuff that we've been taught.
You know, I think of Dwayne Wade and his daughter, and how the world really tried to say that he was wrong for being open about it and accepting the fact that his son is now living as his daughter and has transitioned into a young girl. But I think a lot of people thought that he was wrong for accepting the fact because the fact she was a young age and she has discovered who she is at a young age. Again, society, want to put people in a box and know she doesn't know and she's too young and why would you, what do you, I'm looking at this and thinking, what does society want him to do? Take him out and push him out there on the football field?
Be as miserable as they are. That's what they want. That's all they want. That's what I have come to learn, is that people just want you to be as miserable as they are.
Miserable.
Yeah, and we're back to dumb adults again. It's just dumb adults talking. Dumb, miserable adults. And that's all it is. I mean, I have gotten to the place now that that's what helps me out. Like, I realize that when I hear stuff like that, that's what I'm dealing with, is either dumb, willing to be ignorant, and just, they're just willing to be ignorant. And, they're okay with it. And if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. And they're allowed to be miserable. They're allowed to be ignorant and all of those things. Right. I have a choice whether I listen to it, whether I respond to it. I have a rule: just don't touch me.
Right.
Just don't touch me. You could say anything. You could call me. Then you could say anything. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, because there's nothing that I can say to you that's going to make you any more miserable than you already are.
Right. Right. Right.
That's how I look at it.
Listen, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about racism in the trans world, because I think that is something that is so, again, even like within our own Black community, there's racism, but racism within the trans community, to me, it's stronger than what people even really understand and know. So we're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. I'm here with LiLi Washington, talking with 3D. We'll be right back.
Freedom isn't free. I traded a life of drugs and fear for living out loud with no regrets. It took a lot to get here. And while I still occasionally hear voices trying to tear me down, they are drowned out by voices of encouragement and respect. Too many to count. I earned that. My journey continues. Every day is a new chapter where I engage deeper in life, grow my career, and help out people around me. And every night, as I go to bed, I spend a moment with a certain someone. I tell him that he is beautiful. I tell him that he is special. And I tell him how much I love him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am here with the founder of YB Limited, also model, actor, producer, LiLi Washington from Brooklyn is in the house. I am again so excited for you to be here. LiLi, I'm telling you, you guys got to check out her movie, The Life Throughout. Make sure that you go to YouTube. Make sure that you The Love Throughout, and all you have to do is type that in, The Love Throughout. Go to YouTube. You can go to it right after this show and make sure that you watch The Love Throughout. I'm telling you, you must see it. Also, listen, there's so many other different projects that LiLi is in. We're going to talk about those in her commercial. Also, the Allure magazine spread that she is in. I just am so excited for you and everything that you are doing, and then what you are about to do. Because I believe that you're about to take this world by storm. I'm telling you, your story has only begun to be told, and I'm telling you, this is just. I'm excited that you are here, because then when I see you actually on the big screen, I'm like, I had her on my show. I'm so excited. So listen, let's talk about racism in the trans community, because I think again, that is a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about, because the fact that we're what they say a natural woman can be abused and can be murdered and everything, and it can be of course it's spread all across the news. But when it's someone in the trans non-binary community, it's different. It's you know, what did they provoke the person? Did they not tell the person of who they were? So it becomes their fault. So what do you say about racism in the trans non-binary community?
I'm glad you went back to the original question, because I had something else to say, but I'm gonna say that for another show. Because they always say they don't know. You know, that's always the easy cop out. But I'll say that for another show.
So we can talk about it. I ain't got a problem with that.
Hey, that's a whole show. That's a whole show. But but sticking with the topic, no, seriously, when a cisgender woman is murdered or attacked, it typically makes the news or mainstream news, but it has to be more than likely a white woman. That's just when we're talking about cisgender, okay? So then Black women get way less coverage, because there's a lot of Black women right now who are missing, and none of us are talking about. No one's talking about it, okay? There's a lot of Black children, a lot of Black women missing. Now, when you peel back the layer of the onion a little bit more and you deal with trans women and children, you're definitely not going to hear about that. And there's a lot of trans women that are being murdered all the time. Like, I go on my feed a lot and I just, you know, see rest in peace, or, you know, someone posting like not again, you know, and that's the only place that I'll get the news from, is typically in the community. And it doesn't go any further than that. I remember when I was born and raised in DC. So that's where I grew up, in Washington, DC. And one of my closest friends, who was my best friend at the time and who helped me to start getting in touch with who I was, and he was murdered in Laurel, Maryland. And he was a gay male. But he presented himself as a heterosexual masculine male, but he was an openly gay male. And it hit the news as soon as it happened, but the moment that the police found out that he was a gay Black male, they stopped investigating it altogether.
Wow.
So this is not anything new. This is normal, and this should not continue to be normal. So that's something that definitely needs to be discussed, and, you know, and just.
How do you think that we can change this? What do we need to do in order to, change laws and make laws and make people talk about this more?
Well, that's why David and I decided when we did the film, we constructed it in a specific way so that all humans could understand and see themselves in this story. Because what I see from, this is my standpoint, I know people have different takes on it, but mine is that we're not viewed as human or less than human or somewhat human or disposable humans. But when people see that people that are in the LGBT plus community, we do more than have sex, because usually that's what they think that we do. We, like, I have to do laundry after this. So in between sex, we do laundry.
Right. Right.
I cooked tonight. So in between sex, I managed to get some cooking done. So, they we want them to we wanted them to see a human story, because that's what I see, is that people think that our whole life is based on transitioning and sex and what are we doing with our body parts and hormones, and it's child, like we got to pay the same electric bills that you got to pay.
Right.
It's so many other things, regular life, simple things, emotions, just same stuff. And so I think that we're not humanized, and that's a big start.
Wow. That's deep. Yeah. Listen, since we went there, we're going to talk about it. What is the golden rule when you are living as trans? What is the golden rule to say, to walk up to someone and say, hi, my name is LiLi Washington and I'm transgender? Is there a such rule to do that? Do you have to reveal to someone who you are, why you are, and all that before you think that, oh, this might be a relationship or something that we're going to start?
Well, the rule is always to be true to yourself first. That's always the rule, to be true to yourself first. I can't break down rules for people. I do what I feel is best for me. And so I'm true to myself always. That's number one. Then number two is always going to be, of course, my safety. So the way I do it is, when I used to have men approach me, because, of course, they see this and they don't approach for more.
Right.
That's my husband. He think nobody sees me anymore. I'm a businessman. Right. But yeah, when men would approach me, I would just simply, I'll exchange numbers, pretty, but then in the first conversation, I get that right out the way, or the first text, I get it right out the way.
Okay.
That way you can, I'm not stealing your choices. You can't say that someone stole your choices or anything like that. And you can say yes or no, or keep it moving, or yes or no, or maybe, or whatever it is. And we take, that's just how I do it.
Right.
But then I know some ladies who have had the full reassignment surgery.
Right.
I promise you, I know one in particular. I knew her for 2 years and didn't know she was trans.
Wow.
Gorgeous, no makeup, gorgeous. When I say gorgeous, gorgeous. And she's had the full surgery, and she started when she was 17. And there's nothing about her that, and she didn't disclose because she
identified as full woman.
And she was a full woman. And
right.
So, and she's never had any issues. But she did say at the last time I spoke to her that, she was getting more comfortable with just go ahead and sharing it, because honestly, no one would know.
Right.
No one would.
Do you think that it would be wrong if, for some reason, even though full assignment, and do you think that it would be wrong for someone not to disclose it? And even like you're saying that she looked full woman, and she is full woman, do you think that that has to be a discussion? And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is just our opinions. So we're not speaking for anyone, and we're not making anyone say that they have to decide to disclose or anything. But again, this is about education. And I think it's important that we understand, because again, there's so much hatred and crime and people hurting people because of the fact, well, this is what they say, is that they didn't know. They didn't know. So
exactly.
do you think that, that again, does that discussion have to happen at the beginning?
Well, with me, it happens at the beginning.
You, right.
For me, it does. But when it comes to other people and what they do, as long as they are true to themselves and they can sleep at night, and whatever consequences that they feel that they can handle, because that's what my spiritual advisor always told me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all of the possible consequences, and if you feel like you can handle the worst case scenario, then so be it. That's just how I run my life these days, right? Because I didn't become a saint overnight, close to it. But I had my moments, right? So I asked myself, consequences, let's see, no, I can't do that one. Let me stay away from that one. There's sometimes like we're gonna go ahead and take the risk, not sexual wise, but just things in life,
Right.
I stay away from what other people do in their bedroom,
That's right.
It's between them and the person that they're sleeping with. It's between them and the person that they're sleeping with. And I feel like if more of us sticking to our own bedrooms, whether you got something going on in it or not, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The less you got going on, I probably got it. The less they got going on, they got more time to worry about it. But okay. Get you a hobby. That's what you could do. Get a hobby.
Right.
Get a hobby.
Right.
But you ain't got to worry about anyone else's bedroom. That's how.
Right. And like you said, we do have a lot of people out there. We don't know who you are, why you do, but you choose to say, you know what, I didn't know. And we create things for ourselves. If that's who you like, that's who you like. To me, love is love. You don't know who you're going to like or who you're going to fall in love with. But don't make it turn into an abusive situation, because now you feel pressured. And I'm talking about the other side now. I'm talking about just say a male that has met a trans woman, and now you feel pressured to get out of a situation because of what society's going to say about you.
Yeah. Like I said, that's a doozy. I can talk about that one all day, just because for my entire life I've always been with masculine, straight presenting males, whatever that is. And so, because I don't know, it's just the weirdest thing ever. And my whole thought process in around the topic of sex and gender and all of that has just completely changed in the last 10 years. I have come to realize how wrong and how limiting the way society teaches us about sex.
Right.
And that leaves, especially Black males, feeling some type of way when they're attracted to a trans or non-gender conforming person. Right.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be right back. We're going to take another quick break. We are here with LiLi Washington. Again, please go on YouTube. Check out The Love Throughout. You have to check it out. Go to YouTube. Don't go to YouTube while we're on break, but when we finish with the show, you got to come right back. You are watching Talking with 3D right here on the IOM network. We'll be right back.
The 3D Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that brings awareness to autism by special events and community events like Stomp the Runway for Autism. We also specialize in health and wellness services, advocacy services, clothing and school supplies, food for families in need. Be a part and make a donation now at www.the3dfoundation.org.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here on IOM Network Television. My name again, Derek Darrell Dixon, right here on Talking with 3D. I'm here with LiLi Washington in Brooklyn. I'm so excited once again to have her here. Man, I'm telling you, we've had great discussion. And we just want to get into the commercial. I saw the commercial, and I am just so excited that just to see it, to see you in it, and it throughout just the commercial. You got a piece here, you got a little snippet here, a little snippet here. But tell me more about what that commercial was about and how it came to be.
Oh, wow. So the commercial is for a brand called Stitch Fix. They have become really popular in the last couple of years or so, to the point where a lot of my family members were already using it prior to me even being called for it. So when I was called for it, they were really, really excited because they were like, we use this, right? But
Right.
what it is basically a personal styling service, and they assign you a personal stylist who curates clothing for you, and they send it out, especially for you. This is for people who don't want to shop or who don't want to have a closet full of clothes, because people are getting away with just excess,
Right.
And it came through my agency, We Speak. Shout out to We Speak. They are the best agency in the world. They're one of, if not the most diverse agency, definitely in New York, but if not in the country. And it's just awesome. They fight for us when it comes for, and it's just a very diverse agency. From the typical, what you would think of as statuesque model, to trans, to disabled, all of us. But they hooked it up. And I went out to LA, and I was out in LA for like 8 days shooting this commercial. It was a phenomenal experience. And then I found out while I was there that the owner of the company, like, specifically wanted me to be a part of this. So I was the first trans person that representing this particular company.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's major, LiLi. That's major.
Yeah. And this is my first national television campaign. And from what I see and from what I hear, because I don't typically watch television, but I get the texts all day long, like, they're running it all over the place, all day long, all night long. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to come from where I came from, to be on television and representing the girls, so.
Right. And we're going to make sure right here on Talking with 3D that everyone is able to see the commercial as well. Becoming, on television and doing the movie, and have you, and I know people ask you all this all the time. So let's just get this out, because the people always want to know, have you met RuPaul?
I haven't met RuPaul. I have met a lot of people within the last few months, but RuPaul's not one of them. And my dad told me the other day that I remind him of RuPaul. Yeah,
you have a little RuPaul in you.
Yeah, I do. I think that was just a moment of him trying to be cool, even though my dad is cool. But I think he was trying too hard to be cool. I'm like, dude, you're already cool. Stop. But RuPaul is gold. Love her. And I've met quite a few pretty cool people recently. So but RuPaul's not one of them.
So who are you in the trans world? Who is some of the inspirational people that you relate to? That you say, you know what, not to inspire to be them, but you can relate and you say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. Because, and actually we don't have a lot of trans, women and men that are we can put in the front line, So who are those that we can say, wow, these people are really doing it? Because I think it's important that we know who these people are.
Well, if you're talking about right now in today's era, it would be Laverne Cox.
Yes.
And I have the pleasure and opportunity to do a lot of work with her hair and makeup team. That's who really put me on. Shout out to Double D Productions, D&D Asia. That's who put me on here in New York. But for me, it's the ones, and Laverne is in that came before me, but like before even Laverne, when it was not really not safe to show up, and they was putting us on like television and magazines, was Sylvester. And Sylvester didn't
Yes.
identify as trans, but Sylvester, I see so much of myself in Sylvester. The boldness, the unapologeticness, like just everything big, lively.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up Sylvester and that's such a great example because, again, when we were introduced to Sylvester and the music and everything, you did not say, oh, he's trans. You didn't say he's non-binary. He was Sylvester. And Sylvester, I'm telling you, was the most entertaining person that we knew of in that era. But you're so right. We did not have to, it wasn't like, is he man, is he woman or anything? He was just Sylvester. That was it. And just the fact that you can enjoy the music and everybody enjoyed it. I can't dance to that. That's Sylvester. I can't move to that song. No, you did not. You got up and when Sylvester came on, that was it.
That was it. That's all they cared about.
Yes.
Was the art and what Sylvester brought forth, and that's what I want to push,
Yes.
It's like,
I'm so glad you brought that up because we don't see it as art anymore. Now it has been so brought into sexuality and all of that and stuff now instead of seeing the art in it. So I'm so glad you brought him up to that people can relate back to and say, oh wow, maybe I can get this a little bit better now that I don't always have to label somebody just for myself. We're not doing it for you, we're doing it for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wow. So listen, tell us about Allure Magazine. Because again, here we are, commercials, the movie, Allure Magazine. Tell us about how you got into Allure Magazine and that article with them.
Okay, well, and also Vogue 3 times this year too. I mean,
hey, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
But
let me straight now. Vogue 3 times. Come on now.
Yes, 3 straight. So listen, I'm just going along with it. So Allure reached out to my agency, and they wanted to do article, and this is what makes this so special, about 3 bald women. Right. So they didn't care about me being trans or anything like that. They just wanted to do an article about 3 bald women. One who chose to be bald, one who was bald due to alopecia, one who was bald due to cancer. It was 3 of us chosen. I was chosen due to it's a choice for me today.
Right.
But it was originally from cancer. It was chemo that started the process. And then in the process of chemo, this became my signature and then became a choice after that.
Okay.
So that article was done to just make women feel empowered and to let them know that there's other women like them and that you don't need a wig. You can have it, you can not have it. You have the choice, but you don't need it. Like you have everything you need. And it was especially like, how can I put it? It was a little bit even like more special when it came to having a bald trans person, because a bald trans woman, because you don't see that.
Right.
Like typically the first thing we do is put on a wig.
We want to see hair. You're right.
It's too hot. I'm not doing it. So you're not gonna get that from me. So,
right.
I'm just saying. But I just became okay with who I was, and I have a closet full of wigs up there right now. I the most you might see is in a TikTok video.
Okay.
But I just wanted people to know that they were enough. Women, trans women, cisgender women, I wanted to know that they were enough. Whether they were going bald, they were bald, whatever. They were thinking about shaving their hair bald, you're enough, period.
Wow. I want you to, we have probably about 3 minutes here. I want you to talk to that young boy, that young girl, and inspire them just to be who they were assigned to be. because I think it's important that people can identify and they can hear a voice like, wow, that's me. So talk to that young boy and that young girl of being who they were assigned to be.
Well, I would say I know that your parents and I know that the world has given you. Oh, okay, hold on. Can you hear me? Because I think this is my power trying to go out on me. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay, there we
Yes.
go. I know that the world and your parents have given you an assignment, but the creator has his own assignment for you. And I know that there is a distinction of confusion sometimes, but it's okay.
Mhm.
That's normal. Whether you are trans, whether you identify as gay, pan, whatever, growing up is difficult for all of us.
Yes.
Growing up is difficult for all of us, but to be true to yourself at all times. Always be true to yourself. Don't ever choose to be uncomfortable to make other people feel comfortable. No one benefits,
Right.
especially you.
I also want to make sure that we put up numbers that if you do fall into addiction, if you do feel, the thoughts of suicide and everything, make sure that you reach out, make sure that you get some help, because there's times that you can't go to your parents, you can't go to the church, you can't go to your friend, but there's people out there that you can speak to. And I think it's so important that you know that and know that people care and people are willing to lend a hand and be there for you. So do not think that you're always alone. You just have to know the right person to connect to. So I think it's very important that, again, you hear voices like LiLi, that you surround yourself with like-minded people. That doesn't mean always another trans person. You just have to be around like-minded people. So therefore, again, I encourage you, if you do have suicidal thoughts, if you are dealing with addiction, call someone, get some help. That's the first step, because the fact that there's so much more for you in life. When God has assigned you an assignment, you have to move forward in it. You have to make sure that you fulfill everything that God has for you. So LiLi, I thank you so much. We could have been here talking for a whole nother hour, but I just appreciate everything that you do in the community and how you're open to just be able to discuss whatever that is needed to be discussed. So,
Yeah.
we in touch. Go ahead. Yes, and also you have a speaking engagement, I know, also coming up November 10th.
Yes, and I'm going to be speaking to the trans youth over at GMHC.
Mhm.
They were and are the leading organization for HIV and AIDS. They were at the forefront of it when it started, and they continue till this day. And I often speak with the trans youth there. A lot of us end up in the streets, tossed out because parents won't accept us, and like you said, we end up getting with the crew, and a lot of us start doing things we gotta do to survive.
Yes.
So I go and I share my story, I listen to their story, and together we come up with solutions. Wow.
Listen, I'm again, I thank you, because we don't want to talk about it in the in our families and things like that, but it is important that we have these conversations. So I want to thank my guest, LiLi Washington, for coming on, talking with 3D. Again, if you do have questions or concerns, please reach out to somebody, and just know that you are loved, that your assignment is for you. It's not for anybody else, it's for you. So thank you for tuning in to Talking with 3D. We'll see you next week right here on the IOM network. My name is Derek Durrell Dixon, where real talk is for real people.